Hello everybody, welcome back to Train Life. I'm Tintin57 and I'm back in the scenarios whilst we wait for the next big patch for the career mode. And today I found this one which I've not done before. This is going between Germany and Poland from Dresden to Wroclaw, and it is a postage scenario, so I thought we'd jump into this one. It's actually been run in one of my favourite locomotives in the game, which is the Leco FZ18. So let's have a quick look. It says deliver postage despite heavy fog. Now I don't see fog in the game because I didn't switch that option on right at the beginning when I started a new career, so I don't often see the fog. So it's nice to see this in the scenarios. It looks like we are going from Dresden Warehouse, picking up the postage from the driving towards Wroclaw, getting station access at Wroclaw Warehouse, and then dropping off the postage. So it's quite a simple one. Dense fog, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 times the rewards because we've not run this before, and the target time for this one is 12.5 to 14 minutes, so it's not a massive one. Let's jump straight into it. Wow, there is fog. Alright, the clock's ticking. So let's get access to the warehouse first of all.
Station operator here. You've been given clearance. Proceed to entry.
Alright, cool. So let's get everything set up, ready to go. Get the lights on, of course, because if you don't do that, you'll get a fine straight away. Always remember the lights in the scenarios. Alright, it looks good. I like the fog. Let's make sure we get the switches right. We don't want to end up at the wrong platform. Let's just have a quick look around. So it's in the usual colours that I have picked for my career mode, the yellow and red, which is the Tintin57 gaming channel colours, as you know. Let's get the power off. Get some brakes in, and we can pick up the postage and be on our way. So this is Dresden Warehouse. And remember, you can stop anywhere between these 2 yellow arrows. You don't need to go all the way down. It kind of puts you at the end of where you need to be. So here's the postage. Doors are opening. Okay, cool. So now we need to drive towards the Wroclaw warehouse. Let's do that. Now, what it's doing is, let's check the map, because we are at the end of the line here. Let's just see if we can go. We can go around. We can go around and back onto our route. So you can see that if you look at the mini map, the yellow line is where we need to be, but actually in a warehouse generally there is this loop at the end, which is quite good. So there you go, it's picked up the loop. That's what I was hoping it would do. Sometimes you have to do that manually and find your way back to the yellow line, but generally it will do it for you, so that's good. I'm pleased about that. So target time of the minimum target time 12.5 minutes, which is quite short. We are in a 50 zone leaving this warehouse, so we will be able to get some speed up the minute we clear this. The next instruction is just to drive towards. So remember, when you're doing these scenarios, follow those tasks up in the top left hand corner exactly as they say. You know, I've mentioned it before that as we're going, in this case, towards the warehouse, if I'm told on the left that the warehouse is in range, I have a tendency to call it in and announce our arrival and get access. But in the scenarios, don't do that. Wait until it asks you to do that, because it can throw the script off course, if you will. And if it's a long scenario, you don't want it messing up just because of something simple like that. So do remember to follow those instructions up in the top left, and you'll be okay. But we're just leaving the warehouse zone now. These blue V's are the end of the warehouse. You see we've got the speed boards there. We're still keeping to the right. There we go, 70 miles per hour, 70 kilometres per hour, I should say. So let's do that. Take a look outside, the outside camera. Yeah, thick fog, isn't it? These are the postage wagons that you can just see on the back. These older looking wagons, coaches. And I'm speeding a little bit. So the way that we picked up the postage just then is exactly the same way as you do it when you're in career mode as well. So if you do get stuck, have a look at the videos, of course, on the channel. We've got videos on there for postage, cargo, and passenger, so it goes through the sort of routine of how to do those and how to get yourself set up for each of those scenarios. So have a look at that. But if you are in the scenario mode and you're doing a postage pickup, it will again teach you as you go along by giving you those prompts in the top left. So just as a reminder, the scenarios are quite good and will help you in career mode. So I've pretty much solidly been playing career mode until recently, but then I thought there was a trophy for completing all the scenarios and beating the estimated times, so I started dipping into the scenario mode, and I'd recommend you do that as well, because you of course get to drive different trains and locos without having to buy them, which is the only way you can do it in career mode. You need to have enough money in the bank to be able to buy the loco itself. So it does give you a good chance to also try out every train in the game, so definitely do that. And the way, since the last patch, that the scenarios are now laid out is much better. There was just one big list previously, but now there are tabs for cargo, passenger, postage, etc, etc, so it makes it easier to choose which one it is you want to do. So yeah, go and check those out. I'm interested to know as well, drop me a comment, when you do the scenarios, do you stick to the speed limit or do you go over the speed limit? Doesn't seem to be any penalty for going over the speed limit. In the Orient Express video that I did recently, I was talking there that you've got up in the top right hand corner, you can see I've got 24,150, and that money is only for this scenario, so it has an effect on your final score. It doesn't affect career mode. So do you speed through these scenarios? You could speed through these scenarios so that you can beat the time and get the trophy or the achievement, and not affect your career money that you've got. So I'm generally, if I go over speed, it's because I'm not keeping my eye on it. I'm not intentionally going over speed. But I do think for some of these scenarios you do have to speed, because some of those estimated timings are quite aggressive. I don't know how you can do some of them with keeping to the speed levels. So let me know in the comments below, what do you do? Do you generally play these and keep to the speed limits? That's the way it should work, isn't it? For the true experience. So I'm going to play through them all once and try and keep to the speed. For those of the ones that I've not beaten the estimated time, I may then go back and do a little bit of extra speed just so I can beat the timings, just for the achievement. But in the last patch, those timings, actually some of those timings must have been tweaked, because they were very, very aggressive with the way the game released. Did a couple of scenarios and I was way, way over time. And in some cases I'm speeding slightly, so I don't know really how you were meant to do those, but I think via all the reports that Simteract had in the Discord, I think that was one of the things that got tweaked in the last patch, so that was good to see. So how are we doing? We are 8.5 minutes in, out of our estimated initial time of 12.5. Let's have a look on the map. You can see where we're going. We're going down to Wroclaw Warehouse down here on the right hand side. So we've still got some way to go. But yeah, this loco is a nice one. This has got one of the nicer cabs, I think. And I've spent a long time in career mode driving this one. We've still got the matrix effect, as I call it, on the windows there. You can see the black marks, almost like rain coming down the windows. I'm hoping this week's patch that's one of the things that's been corrected, because it's been like that since release, and it does take some of the enjoyment, a little bit of the enjoyment, you can see it there, it does take some of the enjoyment out of being in the cab view, which is a shame. Now, it is worse on some engines than others. This one, it isn't too bad. Let's just watch that speed. 95 down the stretch. Coming up on 10 minutes. So we need to be there in less than 2.5 minutes, really, if we want to have this one contribute towards the trophy or achievement. I'm speeding slightly. I always have a worry that one of these construction zones is going to appear in front where suddenly your speed drops to 50 and you derail. Don't want to derail. I already derailed the Orient Express, as you saw in the last video. Which was a complete accident. It looks a bit brighter here actually. The fog is thinning slightly. It was meant to be dense fog the whole way along, but actually we seem to have had a bit of sun coming out, burning some of that fog away, it looks like. Whether that is intentional or not. We do have dynamic weather in this game, so it's possible. Coming up on 11 minutes. Also, if you do decide from watching the video, if you do decide to run this one straight after, then let me know in the comments what your time was. I'm interested to know how you did. And again, as I mentioned before, also let me know, did you keep to the speed limit? Did you speed in some cases? I'm interested to see. I don't think we'll ever get to where we've got a little league table. Well, that would be a nice idea in the game, wouldn't it? If we could have a little league table. But then I guess that would encourage racing. And we should drive these things properly, shouldn't we? Let's take a look outside. We've got an animal on the track. So once we get a bit closer, sound the horn. That should clear it. Oh, there it is, right next to the track. You see that? Wow. Lower your speed, you may be fined. Okay, let's do that. We're meant to be doing a 70 right now. If you do get fined for speeding, by the way, I'm really not sure what the fine is. Let's go back into the cab. See, we've got a 95 again now. The speeds still... The speeds are still a bit confusing. The speed changes, I should say, are very confusing. Going from a 60 to a 95. We do have a 50 coming up. Now, usually that is a sign that we are nearly there. when you see the 50. We've probably got the warehouse in range right now. But again, as I said, top left hand corner, yeah, it's in range. You can see that it says on the left it's in range. It's not asked us to call it in yet. So at this point, in career mode, I would be calling it in and announcing our arrival so that we do it early. When you do it in a scenario, it seems to leave it much later, but we'll follow the steps. We've already gone over the minimum time. We're at 13.5 minutes now, so we're not going to do it in 14 minutes. There's no way, so... But we must be very close. That is the 14 minutes, so we're going to arrive late. I'll just take the throttle off. This is an 85 zone. .65 now, so we're getting very, very close. So you saw I was expecting to go down to a 50. That 50 has disappeared because the direction we've gone in must have been a different direction to that we had set up from a switch perspective. So really, you know, it's difficult to predict the speed changes, because the minute you change direction slightly, the speed changes in the HUD change as well. So it's saying here we've got a 40 coming up. Which must be the entrance to the warehouse, but it's still not asked us to call it in yet, which is a bit strange. Maybe when we get past this service centre we'll get that. But what it does do in the scenario is it leaves you a lot to do when you're calling it in late. So I think it's going to change now, saving content, which usually means it's going to do something imminently. Keeping my eye on the top corner. Still in a 65 zone. Expecting a 40. Right, so now we can request access.
Hello, you're clear to arrive.
And the next thing we need to do is the final step, which is to perform the postage drop-off at the warehouse. So we're in that 40 zone right now, so let me just take this down a little bit. Interesting thing is it's guiding us in the minimap down the bottom left to the passenger boarding track, which is the same as the postage track. But we don't have the green light, the green line I should say, which should guide us directly to the place we need to be. I can see we need to be on the left, so this hasn't quite worked out right. So let's go to right. So you can see the orange V there. Don't know if you can see that in between the lights. That's where I'm going. So let me switch this now to the left and guide myself in. And we'll go to the right. And this is the track where we need to stop where the V was. So yeah, we didn't get the little line in the minimap, which will tell us exactly how to get to the drop-off point, which is a bit strange, but this is the drop-off point, so what we can do now is we'll get the brakes on. And we'll get everything unloaded, and that should be the end of the scenario. Let's get the doors open. And close the doors. And that is the end of the scenario. So we were way slower than we were meant to be. We were 4 minutes 3 seconds slower than estimated, but you could see there wasn't really any point where we were under speed. We were under speed by a couple of kilometres per hour in certain sections, but we were also over in certain sections, so it should have balanced itself out. But the other problem was the minimap not showing us exactly which track. So, you know, having to zoom in and look which track we needed to go to was another thing that probably cost us a little bit of time, but we were over time by then anyway. But still worth doing, and it was a nice run in the dense fog. What do we get anyway? We got 17,332 money reward, 866 XP, and that gets doubled because it was the first time I ran this scenario, and we got minus 18% though off that for arriving late. So nice run. Love the fog, absolutely love the fog. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like if you did. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification button so that you can see when we go live or when a new video arrives on the feed. Until then, take care everybody. See you on the next one.